So I feel like in my music making process, I'm constantly going backwards. And by that, I mean I'm going backwards in technology, using older pieces, pieces that force me to slow down, very limited pieces. Usually, the trade off is like sound for workflow. And it just made me think, sort of reflecting on this inclination we have, that faster is always better, the assumption that more convenient is necessarily better. And I want to challenge that, is faster always better? I know a lot of people are probably watching this and probably already skipping past, like, let me get to the music, let's get to the point. And for, that is the point. The point is, why are we always rushing to get to the punchline, the point? This environment where everything has to be boiled down to just what is it, what's the point, and let's move on. In that, we lose the process, the patience, and this applies to everything, but within music making specifically, instead of like the slow cooked, you know, well developed song, excuse me, that's analog. Instead of this sort of slow cooked work, we're getting this microwave stuff, this air fryer stuff. Not that it's not good, but I'm just reflecting on it, that this is a really big shift in the way that we make and consume music. Because here's the thing. The assumption is, for someone like me, I'm using an MPC 3000, a 3000 XL, an S950. I'm using this old equipment, 20, 30 years old, in some cases even older. And I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I enjoy the process. And it's a little bit more rewarding for me to sit with something and just let time kind of become an ingredient in the overall music making experience. Instead of, versus other people who are just able to do things very quickly, easily, and just like, boom, it looks great. It's just really nice. But there's something missing in that. And there's like a care that I can kind of sense in the music. A lot of music, even the way that we consume it, and this is where I get into the old man rant, it's like it's disposable. Like we stream it, so we don't even own it. We just listen to it, and then we just like discard it. And I think there's just something that I'm sensing that's just throwing me off a little bit, where I'm drawn to music that's a little bit slower, music that's not going to grab you in the first 5 seconds of the video or whatever it is. It's just music that you have to sit with, that you have to listen to, that you have to engage with in a more involved kind of way. That similar to, the difference between reading the footnotes in a novel, the novel has a depth to it. When you really sit with it, sit in the rhythm of the language and the world that the author is providing for you, and really just get in there. It opens up new landscapes, new possibilities, and certain music does that as well. And I'm kind of craving that type of music, rather than this, the faster, kind of ready-made stuff. Like a lot of these machines, they're just chopping stuff for us. They just give us all this stuff, grab our little breaks, and then we just make these beats and just crank them out. And even the lyrics, they're just done on the spot. But it's like, where's the MC that's sitting down and rewriting their verse 10 times to make sure that it's perfect, and every time you listen to it you catch on to something else? Where's the producer that's changing the bridge a little bit, or changing the drum patterns 2-3 times, or every other measure, every other bar, so that we could kind of just feel this natural human feeling and element inside of it, so that the beat or the track or production is alive in itself and has its own world? I'm just dreaming a little bit, but it's just, these are the sorts of things that like I said, I crave, I miss, and that I think we're missing out on in this rush to just sort of get out content. Even me, I have a YouTube channel, here we are, right? Patreon, here we are. Like, people are like, yo, when's the next video? What's this? What's that? What are you doing next? And it doesn't make sense to just crank things out if you're not there yet. Like, you have to be in discovery and process and figuring things out, letting things sit. In the last couple of weeks, I've been making a few tracks that are cool, but they're much better when I keep revising and going back to them and elevating them and really letting them sort of figure themselves out, being more of a conduit for whatever they're supposed to be, rather than me just saying, yo, I need to get this done by Friday. So yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking a lot about time, our relationship to time, the time as an ingredient, kind of like when you're cooking a slow cooked meal. Time is what makes those flavors sit in. Fermentation, time is what makes that happen. Yeah, and we all know that a really well-aged wine, 20, 30 years, has a richer, more nuanced flavor. Maybe I'm being a little snobbish, but I think there's a little bit more complexity because there's something about what time does, and I don't want to lose that in this endless quest for new samplers and new workflows and faster and quicker and better and blah, blah, blah. So that's just my quick little rant this morning. I just think that, if you can take anything away, just slow cooked meal versus ready made. You know what I mean? And think about the difference. As a consumer, what do you want to hear? What do you want to consume? Anyway, with that, I don't want to talk too much. I really don't like talking too much. I think making things is a lot more interesting. So we chopped up the samples, and so now they're spread across the pads on our MIDI channel 1A. So we just now need to arrange them, pitch them, just figure out what we want them to do. So again, this takes time, but I'm going to sit here and see if I can find some stuff. slow down the pace a little bit.